Hi everyone, welcome to the second part of the grad student wellness presentation. Again, my name is Dakota. If you haven't watched the first section, I would highly recommend that you do. And let's get into the second part. So as I said before, the Duck Nest is here to provide you with some tools and tips that might be helpful for your wellness while you're still at your desk. So we're going to talk a little bit about what stress relief might look like when you can't devote like a full 30 minutes to doing some sort of wellness or self-care exercise. So the first is just a simple meditation. It's called Yogic Coffee, Y-O-G-I-C, coffee. And I was having a little trouble getting it to play along with me, so I'll just show you a little bit about what it's like. But essentially, it's a 1 to 2 minute meditation. You can do this throughout the day. You can do it before a meeting or a presentation to help with anxiety and to get you breathing. It promotes calmness and alertness. And it might look a little silly, but you can always recruit some of your colleagues to do it with you. I think that would be really helpful. But really don't be afraid to look silly. This is a meditation exercise meant for you. So essentially what you do, I would recommend you look it up on YouTube. Like I said, it's called Yogic Coffee. It's all breathing in and out through your nose. So that's something to keep in mind if you need a tissue. But essentially what you do is you start off with your hands kind of above your shoulders in like a relaxed but closed position. And what you do is when you breathe in, you lift your hands above your head and you outstretch your hands. And then when you breathe out from your nose, then you bring them back down and have that closed hand position. So what you do is you do that for a couple of minutes, and this is kind of what it looks like. So that's just a silly little meditation that can definitely help with some of that stress relief at your desk. And like I said, it looks silly, it works. Recruit your colleagues to do it with you. So another thing of stress relief that I wanted to talk about, another aspect of that, is getting grounded. So there is a difference between, using grounding techniques in a proactive way and using them in a triage kind of way, right? Like if you're feeling yourself kind of spiraling or getting into a panic, that's a little bit different than some of these proactive exercises. So if you do feel yourself getting in that panic or need like immediate relief, start with a deep breath or simply take a small walk, right? Remove yourself from the situation that is making you feel that way. And we're going to talk a little bit about what getting grounded might look like. So generally getting grounded, when getting grounded, it helps to have kind of like outside stimulation that might bring your focus to something else. And meditation apps can be really helpful for that. So there's lots and lots of different YouTube meditations or meditations you can find in the App Store that can help with that like visual aspect of getting you grounded and having something to focus on. And when you're doing that, again, right, you want to bring your attention to your breath. You can do them, they can be as long as 5 minutes or they can be as short as 30 seconds. So it's really up to you. Some other techniques that I really like for stress relief and getting grounded are like the seat feet exercise. So essentially what that is when you are sitting down, you just want to start by, if you can, putting your hands like underneath your chair and really just pressing your seat up against your bottom and feeling what that feels like and just bringing awareness to your seat. And that feeling is going to help ground you. And then if your feet are touching the floor and you're able to touch the floor, you can take your shoes off if that's helpful. But then you really just start to wiggle your toes, maybe roll your ankles, and then feel that connection from your seat and your feet. And then use that to really like try and put your energy into the floor and think about being stuck to the floor. And that kind of exercise is just really grounding because again, you're having that sensational feeling through touch and feel, as well as that mental exercise of thinking like I'm connected to my seat in the ground. So I'm a big fan of that one. Another one is the 4-4-8. So that is just a really short breath exercise where you breathe in for 4 seconds, you hold for 4 seconds, and then you exhale for 8. So you can do that once, twice, a couple times in a row. And that's, again, really helpful for just checking in and getting like a little moment of relief. Another big thing I'm a fan of is doing like a body scan. So this is something that can happen earlier in the morning or later in the day. And essentially what you're doing is you're laying down, you start at the top of your head and you just work your way down through your neck, your shoulders, your chest, your tummy. your legs, your feet. And what you're doing is you're just checking in with those areas, right? So how do my wrists feel? Am I holding tension there? Are my legs sore? Are my feet sore? Do I have any pain in my lower back? And after you just notice what you feel and you take a couple moments to check in, what you can do is progressive muscle relaxation. So you can kind of combine these two techniques of stress relief. And essentially what that is when you do the same thing, right? So you start from the tip top of your head, and what you're going to do is you're going to scrunch every muscle in that area as you go down all at the same time. So you're going to scrunch up your face and your neck. You're going to hold your shoulders, scrunch up your fists. And once you get all the way down and all your muscles are contracted, then you just take a deep breath and let it go. And you're going to do that a couple of times. And then you can do another body scan and see if that tension has started to be released from that exercise. So another really great way to get a little bit of relief at your desk, especially if you're starting to feel some of that physical pain, is to stretch. And some of these, I think most of these ones actually, you don't actually have to get up for them. So you absolutely can. I would encourage everyone to take breaks from sitting or standing, depending on if you have a standing or a sitting desk in your work area. But let's talk a little bit about the ones I have listed here. So I'm a big fan of the seated spinal rotation because it's a very gentle stretch that can help ease some of that tension in your back that you might be feeling. So what you do is while seated, you're going to cross your arms over your chest and lightly grab your shoulders if that's comfortable. And you're going to rotate your upper body just from the waist. So you're going to turn gently from left to right. Again, it's not a huge exercise. It's just a very gentle stretch. And just go as far as you feel comfortable. It doesn't have to be very far at all. And you should feel a tension on both sides of your lower back as it stretches out. And that's kind of where you want to feel that stretch. Another big one, especially if you're like me, I hold a lot of tension in my shoulders and my upper back, is the posterior shoulder stretch. So what you're going to do for that one is you're going to hold one arm across your body. You can either hold your arm out, or you can, again, put your hand on your shoulder and grab it. And all you're going to do is you're going to take your elbow and you're going to gently press it into your body. You're going to just pull it into your chest. So what you should feel is this shoulder gently stretching. And again, you want to make sure you even out both sides. And it doesn't have to be a very big stretch. It can be very gentle and still do its job. Another really good one, if you have a lot of that like upper neck or shoulder tension, is just shoulder shrugs. So again, very gentle, just gently lift your shoulders up to your ears and then let them drop away from your ears and try and pull up when you're doing that. You should feel tension being released from your shoulders as they drop. So it's kind of like that progressive muscle relaxation. We're really engaging that area and then we're just letting it go. So that's a really good one as well. If you do hold a lot of tension in your neck and kind of upper body, you can do some neck rotations. So again, very, very gently. Everyone's going to be a little different and you know yourself best. So just kind of listen to your body. But what you're going to do is you're going to keep your head upright and you gently turn your head from side to side. That's a really good place to start. And on that opposite side, so I'm turning my head to the right now, I should feel a gentle stretch in this part of my neck right here. As you turn your head, you don't have to turn it all the way, but if you want a deeper stretch, you can try looking over your shoulder, and that'll really give you that extra little extension here. If it feels good to you, what you can do, as opposed to just looking back and right, you can also go up and down. You can shake your head no, nod your head yes, maybe do a little rolling motion, taking care to focus on those areas that have a little more tension and just stay there and work those out. So again, these are all really gentle exercises that you don't want to overextend, and you know yourself best. So if there's an area that feels really sore, spend a little more time there. And lastly, the shoulder extension. So this can be done seated or standing, but essentially what you want to do is you can link your palms, so your palms are facing upwards, or you can grab your fists together, and all you're going to do is just reach as high as possible. And you should feel your shoulder stretching. If you want to get an extra little side stretch, you can gently start bending over to the left or to the right to wherever feels good and wherever feels like you're getting a good stretch. And then you can get a little bit of stretch in your side body as well. So those are just a couple stretches you can do at your desk. I find them to be really helpful, especially in easing tension if you are in the same spot for an extended period of time. And lastly, let's talk a little bit about focus. So let's be real. In grad school, the name of the game is either multitasking and doing lots of different things at once, or compartmentalizing small tasks from different areas of your life, like work, school, personal life. So to keep your mind active and healthy while you're doing these things and working for long periods of time, here's some things you can do and use to keep your focus and engage your mind or maybe relaxation in like a more active form while you're working or taking a break. So I'm a big fan of manipulatives. So all that is like stress balls, slime, kinetic sand. These are things that you can touch and feel. I often will do that like while I'm in a meeting to kind of keep my attention. Some people just need to have quiet hands, quiet body language, and that's okay. And if you're like me, you kind of need something to do with your hands. So I always keep a rubber band around my wrist that I will play with. And these are tiny little things that you can keep at your desk. Something I keep at my desk is my little rose quartz roller. So this is fun to play with because I just like playing with it in my hands, but it's also something that I can really use to ease tension if I'm feeling any tension in my wrist or like my neck or my face. It might look a little silly on Zoom, but that's what we turn our cameras off for. So that's just one aspect of doing something a little more active to keep your focus. If you're also like me and love lists, or if something pops into your head and you don't want to forget it, it's really nice to have like a mini notebook or a handbook with you so you can actually physically write that down. There's something about the act of writing it down that helps you let that go and have that thought not pervade what you're doing. So it's a good form to continue to multitask that way. And also, that way, you know, there's a physical copy of that thing you need to remember later. So that's definitely a way to like keep your list. Also for doodling, you know, if you just want to take a quick 30-second doodle break, that's a good way to do that as well. Another way you can keep focus is by engaging your sense of smell. And this can happen through using essential oil diffusers if you have a space of your own, or if your colleagues or office mates are okay with you having something like that. That can definitely be a way. Like if you use more kind of citrusy or like spearmint scents, those can kind of heighten your sense of focus, whereas like lavender and eucalyptus essential oils or aromatherapy might be a little more like relaxing and promote relaxation. So depending on what mood you want to be in, those can be helpful. And if you can't have an essential oil diffuser, the Duck Nest actually offers aromatherapy bags that are totally free for you to make and take with you. So when we are open again, I would highly encourage you to check that out, because it's good to have something where you can just engage a different sense that you have, like of smell, to help you kind of keep that focus or promote calm and relaxation. And lastly, you can use things like muscle rollers, tennis balls, or golf balls, or even stress balls that you can keep at your desk. They're pretty easy and they're pretty portable. And you can either use them to roll in your hands if you want to keep your hands busy. There are a lot of really great stretches I would encourage you to look up, and exercises where you can put, excuse me, a like ball, like a tennis ball or a golf ball on the wall, and then you kind of like roll your back on it. If that's something you're able to do, that could be helpful. Or if you're like me and you want to take your feet off, your shoes off at the desk, then you can put that tennis ball or that golf ball underneath your feet, and then you just roll with it. So that helps keep my attention, and and that way you're rolling the stress out like right there and then. There's no need to wait. So those are just a couple of recommendations I have as far as like stress relief while you're at your desk. I hope those were helpful. And like I said, this is just part 2 in a series of talking about specifically wellness for grad students. So next, we're going to talk a little bit about resources on campus that you can use, and also some closing thoughts in general. So that's it for this chunk, and I hope you tune into the next one. I'll see you there.